Jesus, the very thought of thee with sweetness fills my breast, but sweeter far thy face to see, and in thy presence rest. No voice can sing, nor heart can frame, nor can the memory find a sweeter sound than thy blessed name, O Savior of mankind. But what to those who find not is, no tongue nor pen can show the love of Jesus, what it is.
Good. Begin the service for Nelda this morning by singing one of the hymns in the leaflet here, Tomorrow's Path. Hymns chosen today are some of Nelda's favorites. It's nice to think of these words meaning something to her in life. Tomorrow's path to us is all unknown, but we will walk today and trust the future to the Father's hand. He knows and plans our way. In love, the Father ever veils the future, hides from us tomorrow's care. For well he knows today's own burdens are enough for you and me to bear. 'Tis not by sight we walk this way of God, but leaning on his love. We follow with a faith that questions not, untoward the things above. In love, the Father ever veils the future, hides from us tomorrow's care. For well he knows today's own burden are enough for you and me to bear. The dangers that so often hidden lie along the path we tread are clear
we can pray. Our Father in heaven, we thank you that we can be together here today, and we're thankful that we can know comfort at this time, and we are thankful that you understand us and you understand what it's like for us to face death and to face the loss of those who we love, and we're glad that you want to help us and you want to comfort us, and we're thankful that you are so able to do that, and we're thankful for the love that you've shown to us and know that that will continue, and we're glad that you sent Jesus and that he came and he lived and he suffered and he died so that we could know you as our Father and so we could have salvation, and we're thankful that's the hope that we have today, and we're glad for the comfort that that brings to us, and we're thankful for when we feel your presence near us and we feel the peace of being in your will, and we just ask that you would be here with us today and help us and comfort us and just give us what we need so we could have the strength to just endure and bear whatever this experience may bring to us. And so please help us, and please especially comfort the family and those who know the greatest loss, and we just want to have you with us for each step that we would take going forward. We ask in Jesus' name. Well, I guess I just couldn't get my thoughts away from that 15th chapter of John. And it says in that first verse, I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit he taketh away, and every branch that beareth fruit he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit. Now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it abide in the vine. No more can ye, except ye abide in me. I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me ye can do nothing. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch, and is withered, and men gather them, and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. If ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, ye shall ask what ye will, and it shall be done unto you. Herein is my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit, so shall ye be my disciples. As the Father hath loved me, so have I loved you. Continue ye in my love. If ye keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments, and abide in his love. These things have I spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you, and that your joy might be full. And so, I guess just as I was thinking about Nelda, I thought, if I could describe her in a few words, I'd say that she was alive, and she had, spiritually, and she had spiritual fruit, and she had spiritual strength. And we know that the human, it eventually will fail us, and it will die, and it will perish. But there's a spiritual side of life that we can have. There's a spiritual life, a spiritual strength, and a spiritual fruit that we can have. And I just felt like Nelda had that. And what was the source of that? Well, it was Jesus. He says, I am the true vine. And we know that if a branch doesn't abide, doesn't stay connected to the vine, then eventually it's gonna wither and it will die. But and it won't have any strength, and it won't have any life, and it won't have any fruit. But I thought Nelda, she must have had that connection with the Lord in order to have that spiritual life and that spiritual strength and that spiritual fruit. And I like that third verse, now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. And I could say maybe also that spiritually she was clean. We all have our faults, but we're just glad that the Lord, even every day he cleanses us from maybe wrong thoughts, wrong feelings, wrong actions, he can just, make it right. And like maybe God's word, it could be compared to like a water, and we know that water, it can wash away dirt and grime and just a lot of things that would make someone unclean. And but like also it could be like a sword, like a sharp two-edged sword, and like that could cut away things that are wrong. And I don't know, but maybe like humanly there's something in us that resists being cleansed. Like maybe when we're children we don't like to take a bath, but we're glad that like God, he can work in us like a desire to be clean. And I think that Nelda had that, and like she sought God's word to hear it, and not only to hear it but to apply it to her life and to do it, and like it allowed her to be spiritually clean. And I like that fifth verse, like without me ye can do nothing. And I guess so often I feel that way, like if the Lord doesn't help me, then I mean there's no way I can do it. And I can do so little humanly, but spiritually, like I can't do anything, and there's nothing I can do without God's help. But like if we abide in Jesus and we stay connected to him and we have that relationship with him, it's like he helps us and he enables us and he makes what was impossible and just too much to bear and too much to face or too much to do, like he makes it possible. And I like that seventh verse, like if ye abide in me and my words abide in you, ye shall ask what ye will, and it shall be done unto you. And like we know that if we're gonna serve the Lord, that's one thing we have to do so often is just ask. Like we don't know, we can't do it, but we just have to ask the Lord for help. And we know that like if we do ask him with a pure motive, that he will help us. And that eighth verse, herein is my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit, so shall ye be my disciples. And I don't feel like Nelda was out to try to, impress me or anyone, or try to glorify herself or bring the attention to herself, but it just seems like she wanted the Lord to be glorified. And like that's what happens when we have that spiritual fruit, is that it's not self that's glorified, but like it's God that's glorified. And so I was just trying to think about like what kind of fruit is that is produced. And like we just know, I think it's in Galatians, it talks about that love, joy, peace, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Like those are qualities that you could have humanly, like maybe there's a human love and a human peace and a human joy, but that spiritual is a lot greater, and that only comes from like being connected to Jesus. And so I feel like these have been helpful thoughts for me, and maybe just one last verse that like he spoke those things, that their joy might be full. And like we're glad that like the Lord, he doesn't want us to be unhappy, and he doesn't want us to go through life just like always suffering and in misery, and but like he wants us to be happy and to have joy, and like that true joy that lasts. And like even at a time like this, like if we know the Lord and we have his presence with us and we're abiding in Jesus, it's like we can still have joy and we can still have peace, just in knowing the love of God and the love of Jesus and the love of one another. And that's been a comfort to me.
I didn't know where Travis was going to speak from, but my thoughts have also been in John 15. And thinking back on our visits with Nelda, and think of, I jotted down some of the hymns that she chose when we visited her. And one of them was, I have a friend. And I have a friend that meets my every need, with joy and satisfaction brought. And that's Jesus. And that was her friend. And I think many of us even the family, I think, knew Nelda as a friend. And she was a good friend because Jesus was her friend. And she learned from him how to be a friend. So I like what it tells about. That's what drew me to this chapter, was the verses in here about Jesus being our friend. In the just following those verses Travis mentioned in John 15, in the 12th verse, "This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Ye are my friends if ye do whatsoever I command you. Henceforth I call you not servants, for a servant knoweth not what his Lord doeth, but I have called you friends. For all things that I have heard of my Father I have made known unto you. Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you, and ordained you that you should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whosoever shall ask the Father in my name, that whatsoever ye shall ask the Father in my name, he may give it you. These things I command you, that ye love one another." So that's what we would appreciate most in a friend, that they would love us or care about us, have our best interest in mind. And Jesus said that I loved you like God loved me. And that's a standard of love that goes way beyond the human ability. But that's how Jesus loved his friends. And that's how he would love his friends yet in our day, those who know him. And so just thinking of, that's how he wants us to be to one another, that we would love like that, like he was loved and like he loved others. And so that we're thankful for that. The extent of that we saw in Nelda, I think we all feel like the newer feel she loved us. And we, not because we did so much for her, but because it was in her heart. And so we're thankful for that, and I think we all want more of that kind of love, that it would be the motive behind our every action and behind our every relationship, that we would love. And he said that that this was his commandment, that they would love one another. It's vital that we would love one another, and that's in all of Jesus' teachings. That's a very vital part of it, that we would love, we would care one for another. So that's what a friend gives good advice. A good friend gives good advice, and that was what all of Jesus' words to those in his day, and we're glad for all that were left on record for us to learn from. They're safe, sound advice that we could benefit from. And we're glad that Nelda, like we heard, she applied God's word to her life, and it cleansed her, and it helped her, and it helped her be a friend to us. And it's I love that 13th verse. "Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends." So that would be the ultimate expression of love, that someone would give their life to save your life. And Jesus literally did that. He gave his life that we could have life. That's the kind of friend he was. And just to lay down our life for others. And he just encouraged people to live for others, to not live selfishly, but to lay down their life for others, to share their life with others. We're glad for the evidence of that we saw in our sister, that kind of love and care for others, and that made her a good friend. And he said that ye are my friends if ye do whatsoever I command you. And just that could sound selfish, but we know in Jesus' case it's not at all. He knows that's what's best for us. That's the safe advice. His words came from his Father, and he knows if we apply that to our life, it's the best for us. Like Travis was mentioning that previous verse about these things have I spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you and that your joy might be full. And he knew that's how they could have the most joy in life, was by obeying the words his Father gave him to share. And they're safe, sound advice, and that's so true for us yet today. There's natural joy that's can be quite temporary, but there's a spiritual joy that can be far deeper, and then that lasts throughout eternity. And he mentioned about a peace like that in the previous chapter, the 27th verse, John 14. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. And he said, I have heard now that I said, I go away and come again to you. If you love me, you would rejoice, because I said, I go to the Father, and my Father is greater than I. So he wanted them to have peace. Jesus knew what those disciples would be facing. This was just hours before the cross, and he knew naturally around them that it wouldn't be peaceful for the next days, but he wanted them to know a peace that came from God, a peace of just trusting God. And I appreciate that kind of trust, and that song we were singing about the Father veiling the future and just wanting us to trust him for the future. And there's a great deep peace in that. If we feel it's all on our shoulders, we feel we have to figure it all out, we have to do it all or something on our own, but if we can just trust him, and it's a great compliment to God to simply trust him, and maybe an insult if we don't. But he's proven himself so trustworthy, and he wants the best for us. He wants us to know the deepest measure of peace and the deepest measure of joy, and it comes through obeying his word and having his Spirit in our life. I love that 15th verse of John 15. Henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant knoweth not what his Lord doeth, but I have called you friends. For all the things that I have heard of my Father I have made known unto you. So those disciples realized that Jesus was their master, and they wanted it that way, and it was true. And in the 13th chapter, when he was washing their feet, he said, you call me Lord and Master, and that's true. But he took the lowest place. He washed their feet because he loved them, and he wanted to refresh them, and he gave them an example of humble service. And he said, if you know these things, happy are you if you do them. And so Jesus was a true friend, and he treated those even who were servants. He treated them like a friend. He didn't treat people like his servants. He treated them like his friends because he loved them, and just glad for that example, and just glad like Nelda, she treated us like a friend, and we love that. So there in the 16th verse says, "You have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you that you should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whatsoever ye shall ask the Father in my name, he may give it you." So that's he chose us. It's his desire that each of us would be his friend, and he, even in spite of the past and in spite of our imperfections, and here just hours after this, Judas came with the wrong motive in his heart, and he said, "Friend, how comest thou hither?" Like friend. He reached out to him as a friend, and with a desire that he would change, and that we're glad. Jesus he was even a friend of publicans and sinners, it said. Not that he entered into sin, but he loved them, and he wanted the best for them, and we're glad for that example. Jesus didn't just love perfect people, he loved all, and he wanted the best for them. He didn't want people to stay in their sin, but he wanted them to be cleansed from their sin, and he wanted it so much so that he was willing to die for that. And that's the kind of friend that we can have in Jesus. So we're very thankful. And And so when he says this is the 17th verse, this I command you that you love one another, that when we really understand his love, that commandment is so so fair and so right. We just to how could we not show love when we've been shown so much love and mercy from Jesus? So we just by looking at that Jesus and understanding the kind of friend he is better, we could be a better friend, like Nelda was to us. And a lot of friends, they like to be together, and they're in those familiar verses in the previous chapter too, John 14. He said, "Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. If I go to prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also." So he was talking about a place of, he referred to as mansions, or a dwelling place of comfort and rest and security and provision, not a natural mansion, but a spiritual place for spirits of men who have been Jesus' friend. And we're thankful. And he said, that where I am, there you may be also. He wanted to be with them. He realized he was soon having to leave them, his friends, those he loved on the earth in his day. He was having to leave them in his prime, 33 years old, and he was having to leave his friends. But he said he was going to prepare a place for them, or to open the way for them to be where he would be, at his Father's right hand. And we're so thankful in Jesus, our friend. He made the way there, and like he said so plainly there in the 6th verse, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh to the Father but by me. So Jesus is the way to get to God's right hand, and where he is, and that we could enjoy eternity with him. And that was his prayer even there at the end of this special gathering with his disciples, that to his Father he said that they may be where I am, where we are. And so we're glad that's his desire for us today, that we would get to know him as our friend, that we would love him, that we would love others as he's loved us, and we would appreciate his sacrifice. We understand, when he told them, greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. They didn't really realize what he was saying. They didn't understand the cross and the need for it, but later they did, and they realized he died for me, and that's borne out so clearly when they went out with the gospel. This was something very real to them, that Jesus died for me, and Jesus died for you, and that's our hope, and to love him, to serve him, to follow him, because he is the way. And just so thankful for these thoughts, thankful for memories of Nelda, and remember that another song we sung with that Nelda chose when we were together, just said about that it finishes each verse with, "Jesus, I'll go through with you." And it says, though the earth may rock and tremble, though the sun may hide its face, yet that you'd follow and you trust in his grace. So just she said that song meant a lot to her when her son passed, and yeah, experiences in life can rock and tremble with our little earth, but Jesus can be our friend through the great varied experiences of life, and we're just thankful. Jesus was a true friend to Nelda, and we're thankful that didn't end with their last breath, and just long that we each could know him as our friend also, that we could enter into the joy and the peace and the rest that he's planned for those who love him. In closing, we'd sing the other hymn, In Jesus' Hands. Well,
means to good or ill, but the answer is in Jesus. All is measured by his will. I will leave it all to Jesus, for I know he understands things in life I cannot alter. I will leave in Jesus' hands. Every day I look to Jesus, none so loving, true, and kind. Earthly things so many cherish must one day be left behind. I will leave it all to Jesus, for I know he understands things in life I cannot alter. I will leave in Jesus' hands. Someday every eye will see him, living, reigning over all. Every great and mighty nation to the Lord will bow and fall. I will leave it all to Jesus, for I know he understands things in life I cannot alter. I will leave in Jesus' hands.
This concludes the services today for Nelda. On behalf of the family, I'd like to thank everyone for being here. Immediately following the service, we are going to be having a private committal with just family. So at this time, I invite everyone, if you want to kind of file from the back and approach the casket one last time before you leave, I invite you to do that now. Also, please feel free to sign the register book and take a memorial folder in her memory if you haven't already done so. So at this point, if anybody in the back would like to approach the casket and the family one last time, I'll have you do that now.